Hello and welcome back to Supposedly Fun. My name is Greg and I am here today to announce the two books that have been selected for the April-May section of the LGBTQ in Translation Readalong, which is going on all year long. It is created by Jen the Librarian. I will put a link to her channel in the description box down below if you would like to check it out. I would recommend doing so if you have not already. And I offered to help Jen the Librarian this year with the LGBTQ in Translation Readalong, since she is working on a PhD and working part-time as a librarian and has a lot of other things going on, and she asked me if I would take the lead on the April-May section. So that is what I'm doing. Very happy to be participating on this end of the read-along, and hopefully we can get the word out to some more people. It's been a very enjoyable project so far. We are still underway in the February-March selection, so there's time to jump in. If you are watching this video at the time it was launched, if you can get a copy. Let me mention that book real quick. So the February-March selection for the LGBTQ in Translation Read-Along was The Membranes by Ta-Wei, translated by Larissa, Heinrich. If you can get a copy quickly, there is still time to join in on the discussion of that. I'll put a link to the announcement video for this in the description box down below so you can figure out how to participate. Discussion has been really great on that. Just a little bit of background on what this is. Last year, Jen started putting together a list of LGBTQ books in translation. I believe this grew out of the Invisible Cities project. I could be wrong about that, but my memory says that that's what it was. Jen had set a goal for herself to use the Invisible Cities project to read LGBTQ books from those areas. And it wasn't easy to do, so she started compiling a list of LGBTQ books in translation, and that led to this read-along for this year. I really love the idea of it because I love finding out about different experiences of the world and from different locations and from different times, and focusing on the LGBTQ story. If you know me, you know I was all in for that. So I have been participating in the February and March, and I am really looking forward to continuing throughout the year. And I'm really excited to tell you about the books that we have chosen for April and May. Just to really quickly recap, again, The Membranes was the book for February and March. I am probably still going to be reading the book that was the runner-up for that this month, and that is To the Friend Who Did Not Save My Life by Hervé Guibert, translated by Linda Coverdale. So you can vote for one of the two books that I'm about to talk about, or you can choose to read both, which is what I'm doing. I believe Jen is going to be reading both of these books as well. And if you want to read only one of them, you can participate in that discussion as well. But we do like to have one main selection, and we want to announce it in time so people can grab copies of it. I actually chose the books for this section for April and May. I chose one of them from Jen's list because it is something that has been on my TBR for a very long time, and this seems like a perfect excuse to get around to it. And I chose a book of my own that I had been interested in that was not on the list from recent years as well. I will probably be reading both of them, so it doesn't really matter to me what people vote for, because like I said, I really want to read both, and I probably will read both. But if you have an opinion, I would love to hear it. This video is where I'm going to ask people to vote. Please put your vote in the comment section down below. We're going to talk about both of the books. I will read the descriptions of both books, and let me know if you have a preference. These should be books that are easy to get. That was one of the things I really tried to consider when I selected books. I got both of mine from Powell's. I actually left these out of my February book haul because they arrived in February, but I didn't want to talk about them in advance of the LGBTQ in Translation Read-Along announcement that I am doing right now. But you can see I ordered both of mine from Powell's. I believe there were other copies available on their website, so if you want to take a look, and if you live in the United States, they were pretty good, well priced as well, and I had them within a week. So the books that I have selected for April and May are Before Night Falls by Reinaldo Arenas. Reinaldo Arenas is a Cuban writer. This is actually a nonfiction book, so it is a bit of a departure from pretty much everything else that is on the list of books in translation right now. I probably should have picked another nonfiction book to go along with it, but I'm keeping this easy. And the other one is Disoriental by Négar Djavadi, which is translated from the French. Négar Djavadi is a French-Iranian author. So those are the two books that I've chosen. If you already know about them, feel free to head on down to the comment section and vote for the one that you would like to read. I will say Before Night Falls is the one that has been on my TBR for a very long time, and you can see probably how it first got onto my radar from the copy of the book. Let's just talk about that one first. This is a movie tie-in. I don't usually like to have movie tie-ins of the book, but I think this is really the only one that is available because the movie came out somewhere around the year 2000. And I think this is also unique, not just because it is nonfiction, but because there is a movie adaptation where Javier Bardem, who you see right here on the cover of the book, played Reinaldo Arenas. I have not seen the movie. I am considering watching it once I read the book because, as I said, I am going to be reading both. But I have been wanting to read this ever since, and I've been waiting to watch the movie after I read the book. So once I finally get around to this, I will do that. And again, I'm not trying to sway anybody's opinion. I want to read both of these books. It just so happens that this one has been on my TBR for a very long time, and I'm kind of using this selfishly as an excuse to knock something off of my TBR. Let's talk about this book. It was one of the best books of the year from the New York Times Editor's Choice in 1993. The top blurb on it is a document of a particular and disturbing honesty by one of the few truly great writers to come out of Latin America in this century. I'm going to read the description on the back of the book to you, just so you can get a sense of what it is about. This shocking memoir by visionary Cuban writer Reinaldo Arenas is a book above all about being free, said the New York Times Review of Books, sexually, politically, and artistically. In Before Night Falls, Arenas recounts his journey from a poverty-stricken childhood in rural Cuba to his death in New York 4 decades later. In between, he tells of his odyssey from adolescent rebel fighting for the revolution through his suppression as a writer, his disillusionment with Castro, his imprisonment and torture, and his eventual flight from Cuba. Before Night Falls illuminates the importance of Arenas' life as a symbol of the individual against society and of the potential for art to liberate, and confirms the power of the outcast to see and record the truth. In distilled and powerful language, Before Night Falls tells Arenas' own story in a Kafkaesque life recreated in his highly acclaimed novels. The blurb from the review from the New York Times Book Review is, reading Arenas is like witnessing a bare consciousness in the process of assimilating the most universal but powerful human experiences and turning them into literature. There is also a blurb from Mario Vargas Llosa, who went on to win the Nobel Prize for Literature, saying one of the most shattering testimonials ever written on the subject of oppression and defiance. Now, I will say as well, I selected this for this time period before everything started to go down with Ukraine and Russia, but this does also seem like it would be a sort of timely read from that perspective if you are into such a thing. Now, in my book hauls, I usually read a little bit from the beginning of each book, and I'm going to do that here as well to try to give you a sense of both of the books so you can make an informed decision about which one you would like to vote for. And I don't usually do the introduction, but I figure I might as well do that for this one. Introduction, the end. I thought I was going to die in the winter of 1987. For months on end, I had been having terrible fevers. I finally went to a doctor and he told me I had AIDS. Feeling worse every day, I bought a plane ticket from New York to Miami and decided to die close to the sea. Not exactly in Miami, but at the beach. However, due to some diabolic bureaucracy, everything we desire seems to be slow in coming, even death. That is the beginning of Before Night Falls by Reinaldo Arenas. Again, he is a Cuban author, and this is nonfiction, but in keeping with the spirit of the LGBTQ in Translation Readalong. So if you would like to vote for this, leave a comment in the appropriate area down below. Now let's talk about the other book that I selected for April and May, which is Disoriental, again by Négar Djavadi, who is a French-Iranian author, and this was originally published in French. It has now been translated into English. I forgot to mention the translator for Before Night Falls is Dolores M. Koch, so my apologies that I forgot to do that. This was translated from the French by Tina Kover, and it was a finalist for the National Book Award for Translated Literature in 2018. It did not win. It has also been a finalist or winner for a couple of different literary awards as well. The blurb on the front of the book is from author Rivka Galchen, and it says, an extraordinary novel, both in incident and telling. There are a lot of blurbs on the back of the book. I'll do a couple, because one of them is from Salim Haddad, who is the author of a book called Guapa that I purchased late last year and would really like to read. He says, by turns heartbreaking and humorous, Négar Djavadi vividly captures the pain of exile with passion and heart. Library Journal calls it a tour de force of storytelling, spellbinding. Kirkus Reviews said his history, both familial and national, swirls across every page, authentic, ambitious, richly layered, and very readable. Booklist gave it a starred review, and Publishers Weekly called it touching and perceptive, and yes, funny. Let's read the blurb about this. At once a sweeping saga of 20th century Iran and an intimate story of a young woman's determination to create a future on her own terms, Disoriental is Négar Djavadi's timeless, passionate, and entertaining debut novel. Kimia Sadr fled Iran with her mother and sisters at the age of 10 to join her father in France. Now in her 20s, sitting in a fertility clinic in Paris as she awaits life-changing news, Kimia is inundated by memories of her ancestors, reminiscences, and family myths that reach her in unstoppable waves. Generations of flamboyant Sadrs return to her, including her formidable great-grandfather, Monteza Molmok, with his harem of 52 wives, and her distracted but ardent parents, Sarah and Darius, stalwart opponents of each political regime that has befallen them. In this high-spirited, multi-generational tale, key moments of Iranian history punctuate a story about motherhood, family, exile, rebellion, and love. At the heart of this prize-winning international bestseller is the unforgettable Kimia Sadr, a queer punk rock aficionado and storyteller extraordinaire, a woman caught between the vibrant intricacies of her origins and the modern life she has made. Which actually sounds like it might be a timely selection given everything going on in the world at the moment as well. So I would love to give myself credit for that, but again, I selected both of these books before everything started going down with the Ukraine and Russia. Now let's do the opening of this book as well, just to give you a sense of that. Chapter 1, The Escalator. In Paris, my father, Darius Sadr, never took the escalator. The first time I went down into a metro station with him on April 21st, 1981, I asked him why. His answer was, escalators are for them. By them, he meant you, obviously. You, the ones who were going to work on that Tuesday morning in April. You, the citizens of this country, with your income taxes and compulsory deductions and council taxes, but also your education, your intransigence, your critical minds, and your spirit of solidarity and pride and culture and patriotism, your devotion to the republic and democracy, you who toiled for centuries to achieve these mechanical staircases installed meters underground. And actually it says that there's an index of the main characters which can be found at the end of the book. I love books with maps, and I love books that have maps of characters as well. And sure enough, it's kind of like a family tree, but not laid out as a family tree. But that is my edition of this book. So, if you have a preference for which one you would like to read, again, the place to vote is in the comment section down below. I will also try to call for votes on Twitter and Instagram, but I will be directing people to this video. So this will be your one place to vote if you would like to read Disoriental by Négar Djavadi, translated by Tina Kover, or Before Night Falls by Reinaldo, translated by Dolores M. Koch. If you would like to read both of these, that is an option. And if you would like to read both, they are not unreasonable in terms of length. Before Night Falls is roughly 300 pages, and Disoriental is 335 pages. So very doable. And if you'd like to participate, you only have to read one book across a 2-month period. If you would like to read both, you have to read 2 books across a 2-month period. Hopefully that doesn't seem unreasonable. It seems fairly manageable to me. And again, vote for whichever one you would like in the comment section down below. These should be easily available whether you are in the UK or in the United States. Again, I found copies readily available on the website for Powell's, which is an independent bookstore in Portland, and ordered them, and they were here within a week. But I also checked, and my library had copies of these. I just wanted to make sure that I had copies for myself that I could use for this video and could hold on to during the duration of the April and May read-along. In the interest of making sure that people have time to get copies of this book for the April-May period, I am going to post this video on March 2nd, and I will probably be counting the votes by about Friday, March 11th, and announcing which book is the official selection for the LGBTQ in Translation read-along for April and May at that time. If you want to join a little bit later, that's fine. Again, we keep things very loose, we keep things very flexible and chill. There are some people who are still working on the membranes for the February and March one. So if you want to take a slower approach, that is fine. But just to make sure that people have time to get a copy of whichever book they would like to read, whether it be the official selection or both, I want to make sure by the middle of the month we have that winning title announced, and I will get it out there for you. For now, I just want to know which one you would like to make the official selection of the LGBTQ in Translation read-along. If you want to read both, let me know down below. And when I make the announcement, we'll have information about the Discord where we will have the actual conversation as well. So let me know which one, if you have a preference, you would like to read in the comment section down below. If you are participating, thank you for that. And if you are interested in participating, we would love to have you. I think this is a really great project, and I am very happy to be participating in it, first as a participant and now as a sort of co-host, whatever you want to call it. And thank you to Jen for organizing this whole thing. So, as always, I really appreciate your time. I look forward to your thoughts on these two books, and I look forward to reading them with you. And as always, I will be back. Until next time, happy reading.